All right, there he goes, Kid Capri, Kid Capri.
What up? What up? What up? We uptown, baby. What up? What up?
Yeah, kid. Hey,
What up,
man,
man?
you got to give us an update, man. Not too long ago, we saw you come on social media, and you looked down and out. You were curled up in the fetal position, and you was sweating. But at the same time, you was giving people insight. You was a little ill. You know, what's your condition now, man? What's the status of things?
I'm 100 right now, man. And when I was sick and I put that video out, had I thought twice of all the attention it would have got, I probably wouldn't have put it out. But I wanted people to take care of themselves, and I wanted people to take it serious, man. So my message was: don't trust nobody. Get yourself together. Stay away. Try to stand as much as you can. And that was my whole thing because it was real serious, man. It was my second time catching it. The first time I caught it was in March 2020 when I did the Sony Hall with KRS-One, and then the next night we did Howard Theater in DC. And when I went on the plane the following day, they had a bunch of wipes on the plane. I was like, that's peculiar. I wiped off my little area, got home, and I was sick for at least a week and a half, man. It was really bad. The last time was worse than this time, but it was bad this time, man. So, it's real serious, man. So that's what I wanted to do, make people understand what it is. But I seen all that attention afterward. I was like, damn, I shouldn't put the video out, but it was good. People showed me how well it was. Yeah, But I'm here now. We good now.
You didn't like that attention, kid? You Kid Capri, man. When do you not get attention?
Hey, man, I tried to, keep it subtle,
All right, man. I want to talk about this album. Would you mention KRS-One, bro? And I know you've been on the road with a lot of major artists. Man, if you could recollect, what do you think was probably for you the most life-altering or life-changing tour that you went on, and who was on that tour with you and why?
Oh, man, I've been on a lot of tours. My very first tour was I can't remember, it was the it was the Public Enemy tour. It was a Public Enemy tour, and it was 13 groups on that tour. Everybody was known. And then after my next tour was Def Comedy Jam. So Def Comedy Jam, even though I was jumped on all these different tours, I'm gonna leave Def Comedy Jam, go on another tour, come back to Def Comedy Jam, or I will be doing it at the same time. So Def Comedy Jam I was on the road with them for maybe I don't know, 9, 10, 12 years, something like that. Even longer than that, longer than the television show. So I think my life changing show, or when I knew I really landed, was when I did the Garden for Aaliyah. When I was helping Aaliyah on the Budweiser Superfest tour, and I came out in the middle of a set. Aaliyah, she had the dance set, so it was Genuine, Mary J. Blige, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Drew Hill. So they had more of a different kind of set that she had. She had the dance set, so she wanted some energy. So that's how she had me come out in the middle of the set. When we did the Garden, man, to this day, me and Busta Rhymes talk about it. I brought after I did my set at the Garden, I brought Busta Rhymes on stage with me. And to this day, me and Busta Rhymes talk about the wind that we felt from people screaming at us on the stage. We felt people's breath screaming at us while we were on stage. And I'm glad Busta was there to witness it, because I'd have told people that they looked at me like, yo, stop lying, kid. But he was there. And we always talk about it. He always say, yo, kid, remember when the wind blew in our face? Wow. It was crazy, man, that day. So that was my bet. That's when I knew. I said, yeah, what I did is accepted, because I'd never seen the crowd go that crazy. It was really.
Was it a lot of like blunt residue on your skin from all that wind?
Nah. I was around different class of people.
Capri, what's up? It's Heather. How you doing? How you been?
Heather B.
How you been? So then, talk to us a little bit about being on tour with Bell Biv DeVoe and all of them, and like that, because for me, I think a lot of people didn't think Bell Biv DeVoe was gonna be successful as they were breaking away from New Edition, and their shows used to be, and still are, in my opinion, crazy. What was that like for you?
Well, the tour was RBRM. What they wanted to do was, what happened was, what happened was, I'm a strong believer of promoting people, even if they don't know I'm promoting them. That defines who you are to people when you do things behind their back that they don't know about. That's a positive thing for them. So one day, I had posted Michael Bivins' hat, sporty clothing line. So I had posted the hat one time, and he called me. He said, "Yo, kid," he was like, "Yo, that what you did, man? That was incredible. I can't believe you did that." And I ain't look at it as no big deal. But he said, "Yo, we gonna go on tour one day." We used to see each other places, and we just say all the time we're going on tour. So one day he called me. He said, "Yo, we're doing an RBRM tour." We bringing Bobby with Belviv DeVoe, and we call it RBRM, Bobby, Vicky, and Mike. And we want you to go out, and you're the only person going out. It's us and you. So we brought, they would have, what we did, I think we brought Faith out one show, we brought Genuine out one show, we brought John B out one show, we brought Little Duval out for one show, but the whole tour was Kid Capri and RBRM, and it was an incredible tour, man. I was so grateful for that because they could have had anybody they wanted. You know what I'm saying? But they did that with me, and that was just really dope. You know, that's my man. I just got to talking to Mike yesterday.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Bivens, a man of his word. Love, family. That's love.
Yep.
That's dope.
Yep, that's good.
That's what's up. Kid, peace. It's Rich Nice. What's good with you, brother?
My brother Rich Nice.
Yes, sir.
My brother Rich Nice.
All right. Let's talk about the album a little bit, because this is you know, I'm not gonna say it's uncommon for people, but we don't hear about this often where someone has written, produced, and performed the entire project. So what was the most difficult song to write, and what was the beat that you worked on the longest?
I think the most difficult song to write was Slap Key, because Slap Key was the very first song I did when I decided to do anything. And I wanted to have a record. I didn't want to come out with a party record, something that people would expect. I wanted to come out with something that was going to make people get reacquainted with me rhyming again. That's why the video was just me by myself, no distractions in the video. I wanted everything to just be focused on me and people take it serious. And once I seen that people took it serious, that's when I knew I was doing the right thing. And then playing it for a couple of celebrity platinum artists that would have probably said, nah, kid, this ain't right, don't do it. They gave me the utmost praise with it, man. So that's how I knew I was doing it right. So Slap Key was pretty much the hardest because I wanted to come across like I got it, but I also wanted to come across humble. I wanted to come across and like I'm talking to my people, like I'm talking to my man in the store, and just keeping it 150. That's all it was, and make people understand that now that that's out, and the Uptown came out. Now you see the party side, but after that, we get serious. We get very serious after this party, after the Uptown joint. So but the Slap Key was the most difficult to do.
H3, you was gonna jump in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, for people that don't understand the title though, Slap Key, like say if you in Kansas right now listening, it's like, well, what is Slap Key? What does that mean? Break that down, kid.
If you listen to the track, it's a sad piano, right? And the drums are hard. So I called it Slap Key because of the drums being the slap and the key being the sad keys. So I wanted it to be hard, because when you make a sad, when you have a sad melody, the beat gotta be hard unless you're trying to do a sad song or trying to do a love song. If you try to do something where you try to give people attention, but you want them to listen, you don't really care about them dancing or anything, you want them to really listen, it's gotta slap a certain kind of way. So that's what my whole idea of that was, but it definitely wasn't. It was something that I didn't say let me write it, calling it Slap Key. It didn't get called Slap Key until I got to the hook.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the song we just played, Citizens. Kid, I'm wondering, man, like it's a whole different landscape out here in the rap game, from when you and when we all first came out. And then as people make projects for different reasons, when we were coming out, when you made music, you really wanted the approval of your peers. You wanted people to hear your music and go, oh wow, man, you hear what Kid Capri just did, you hear what Rich, you heard that verse on Heather B's new joint. It was really about that, getting that credibility, that props, that was motivated by culture. Nowadays it's a whole different kind of landscape, a whole different audience. When you go to record this album, being who you are you aiming for a demographic? A lot of times folks who've been in the game a long time try to adjust to what's happening now, and then they become inauthentic to who they are. Was that a juggle for you?
No, my thing has always been the kids, the grown-ups, everybody party. That's why my show on Sirius XM Fly is called The Block Party, because the block party you go to a block party, nobody's restricted. Doesn't matter what your age is, where you come from, how you look. Everybody come listen to good music all at the same time and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I always represented. I've never been on one side of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like the term, old school or throwback or any of that, because I treat things that's old like it's new. You know what I'm saying? I treat things like that's new like it's classic. And that balance makes something that sound old relevant. You know what I'm saying? Or something that an older person may not want to hear that's new, make them like it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. It's about the way you give it to people, the way you do it. You know, when I did this album, I didn't say, let me try to chase the young kids or let me try to chase that. I said, let me make an album that everybody can enjoy. There's going to be something there for everybody. And then the most thing, and the bigger picture is kids' ears still where it's supposed to be? You know, can I keep up? You know, with all parts of the album, you know, from the underground to the mainstream records. You know, I set out to do something, and I knew I wasn't going to do it thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? So whatever style I came with, it was going to be, I was going to try to make it the best I could make it, but I wasn't trying to really chase nobody in no kind of way. I just wanted to put everything together in a melting pot and let people judge for themselves.
Did you reach out to any artists to be on the project? Any of the newer MCs?
Negative. I wanted to do an album where I could prove I could do an album without a bunch of people on it. You know, I want to do some records later with guests, but I only have 3 people on this album, and it's my daughter, it's a R&B artist named Lavelle, and it's a reggae artist that people know named Mr. Lex. But generally, I just wanted to do all the beats. I wanted to write everything. I didn't want to get a bunch of guests on there. I wanted to show the world I could do it. And this is not something I do all the time. That's the wow factor of it. I'm not somebody I had to depend on making records. I never had to depend on making records. It was a secondary thing. But now that I'm doing it, if you're going to do it, you got to do it to a high level. And sometimes you just got to do it by yourself. Sometimes you just got to do it just to show people that you can do it. And you ain't got to depend on anybody's help, even though I'm always offered. I mean, I'm always open arms to help. But this time, this is something special. This is just another thing under my umbrella. And if I could prove to everybody I could do it by myself. And another thing, another point I want to make is I never liked. Maybe this is why I never been on a whole bunch of albums. Even though I got a lot of records I produce for people, but I never liked going to people and saying, "Yo, I got beats. Let me get on your album. Let me come up in your session." Maybe that's a downfall or a fault of mine, but I never could get in the mode of doing that. So I felt like if I put this album out or put whatever music out, it'll make people come to me. You know what I'm saying? And it'll give me a different leverage. You know, it'll give a different respect to me trying to force myself with somebody else's music, regardless of the fact that my name is Kid Capri and I'm not known for being a producer or writer, even though I'm a Grammy Award producer. I got my first album I rhymed on, but I got big as Kid Capri the DJ. So that's the narrative I got to change now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you feel like people overlook your production prowess. Like, I'm familiar with it because, you know, I dig in the crate, but people don't mention Kid Capri the producer. So can you share with us some songs that you've been a part of from the production side, that some of the biggest songs that you've been a part of, whether you contributed, whether you gave the idea for the song, or whether you actually worked on the song in the studio? What are some of those songs that you've been behind or you've been a part of?
Besides the people that I produced on my album, which is let's go back. My biggest records is when I produced Heavy D, Nothing But Love. I wrote some of that too. I did It's Like That for Jay-Z. I did Masterpiece for Madonna. I did Rowdy Rowdy for 50 Cent. I did I can't remember now, but I did quite a few records. I did Troy Ave. Quite a few records, but I never took it like it's a consistent thing. They would get beats from me whenever it happened, but it wasn't a thing where I was trying to like really push it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really take it serious. And me being on the road all the time, that was my bread and butter. Like, you know, you doing all those days, doing all those shows, you making bread. That's what my focus was. And whenever I did beats, it was really for me. You know what I'm saying? It was really for me in the house and stuff like that. But now, you know, I got a little older. You know, when the pandemic hit, that was the first time I had a chance to sit down. And I've been on the road from 88 to the pandemic pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Man, wait, hold up. That might have been a stunt, y'all. I don't know if y'all heard what he just said. You can do the math on that from 88 until the pandemic, which happened in 2020. So how many years is that? That's 32 years. Kid Capri has been on the road before your mother was born. Come on. That's how long you've been getting money. Come on, stop playing. Go ahead, kid. My bad.
So you know, being on there that long, I mean, of course, going on the road and coming home in between, but being on the road that long, I never had a chance to really sit down and focus on other stuff that I wanted to do. Even losing weight, I lost about 40 pounds in the pandemic, you know, because I had a chance to sit down. And, you know, with that, I did not only one album, I did 4 albums. I got, you know, we have the clothing line, Sucker Free. We have Jazz Has the Real Estate. You know, we have other things going on. I did a couple of movies, we did cartoons. I did all this while sitting in the pandemic. And so when it was time for me to go back on the road, when people trying to get me back on the road, I didn't go back on the road until 2021, June 2021. All that time before that, people were trying to get me to come out when they felt like it was time for them to do something. I personally wanted to make sure people were safe, so I would eliminate me going out. I canceled everything. But me doing that, you know, I did start taking dates in June, but I want to take certain dates, certain size rooms, which only take certain bread. But I wanted to I got used to just doing other stuff for a while because I've been on the road for so long, man. And me getting a chance to open up and do all these other things, it just put a different focus on me. I love the road. I still want to do it, but I want to do it when I want to do it, not because I have to do it. I want to do it because that's what it is. And right now, my mindset is owning everything. You know what I'm saying? Having your hand in everything. Forget about working for people. Put opportunities out there for others to have a situation. So that's where my focus is at right now, man.
Let's go.
Talk a little bit about The Love. Yes. February 7th. Kid Capri has joined us. 888-742-3345. Rich Nice.
Yeah, I just wanted you to add in, because I know you just recently did some production for the Fatback Band. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my uncle is Bill Curtis from the Fatback Band, the leader of the Fatback Band. And you know, they always made their records throughout the years, through the 70s. They've been a very funky band. They was the first to make a rap record. Well, not the first to make a rap record ever, but they were the first in our era of hip hop. When hip hop started, they were the first to make a rap record called King Tim III, Personality Jack, right before Sugar Hill Gang dropped. So most people think Sugar Hill Gang was the first record, but it was King Tim III, and then it was Sugar Hill Gang. So their footprint in music is bigger than they give credit for. You know, so I interviewed my uncle Bill Curtis on IG Live one day, and a lot of people that, you know, was on there, they got a chance to learn about him, you know, and see the history. So when he decided to do the Bang Bang record, he had sent it to me. He said, you know, he wanted me to hear it, and I didn't like some of the arrangement. I didn't like the drums. There were certain things I didn't like on it. And I said, let me remix this for him. And I remixed it for him and sent it to him. He went crazy. So that's how it ended up being. He has a big following, a real big following in Europe. So Bang Bang is doing really good in Europe right now.
Right, Kid Capri is here, man. I want to take a couple of callers, and then I want to ask you about your daughter. Okay, Dina Love. All right, we got Reggie on the line. He traveled on the road. Rise and shine, Reggie. What's popping?
What up, Reg?
Hey, what's poppin', man? How you doing?
What up?
We got the icon here, man. What's up, Reg?
Hey, man, look, I wanted to say, back in the day when I was like 15, I used to travel from Washington, D.C. on the Greyhound and go up to New York and end up downtown in Times Square looking for somebody who was selling a Kid Capri mixtapes. I used to buy the mixtapes for $25 and get back home before 9 o'clock that night before I had to be in. I used to make that travel. I just want to say one more thing. Hey, Mr. Sway, on the days you play your old school, can you play Heather B, All Glocks Down?
You know what, man? Yeah, man, I think that's a song we should start playing. You know what I mean, Heather? We never played that before, Reggie.
Okay.
But I got your back, man. I got you. I'll get that for you. All right, my man Reggie. You a citizen, man. The Love come out February 7th. Make sure you get it. Mixtapes, bro, like, I'm sorry, but mixtapes, man, kid, a lot of us, you know, I used to play a lot of music off your mixtapes in Cali. You know what I mean? That's why I was, you know, just, you know, when we was on the radio, we just act like we did the mix. And just, you know, right where you said Kid Capri, I'll say, Sway!
The crazy thing, when I was on the radio on BLS back in the days, I'm sure you know, I used to start off my show with you and Tex Record. Every single night when that record, that beat started, the show started, I started with that record every night.
The Follow for Now
That's
record when
crazy.
we had to Don't
Follow
Attempt
for
to
Now.
Change the Dial. Yep.
Sir.
Man, let me tell you what you did when you did that, because we would hear about it. Like, yo, they
Mm-hmm.
playing your record in New York.
New
And
York.
if you were from the West Coast at that time,
Mm-hmm.
if you got any burn in New York on New York radio, you made it. And then when they
And
said
that's
it was, go ahead.
that you're very right about that, because they wasn't playing no South, they wasn't playing no none of that. I was the only one playing. The reason, my very first plaque that I ever received before I got a plaque from any New York artist or anybody was the Ghetto Boys for me blowing up my mind playing tricks on me in New York. And the second one was Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music by Outkast. Nobody was playing Outkast. I was playing that on the radio. So I was way ahead. The Source Awards, the 95 Source Awards with the Suge thing, I was the announcer on the television set. I was sitting in the 5th row when Outkast got called out. And the boos happened. And the boos happened. The boos wasn't for Outkast. It was for the situation that was in the room. It was a very tense situation, look like things gonna jump off any second. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Outkast always been dope to me.
Well, that's what made you special. I was at that same Source Awards. I was actually sitting rows behind Dave Mays when that all happened. So I was there too, and that was just a really magical moment, man. But thank you for playing Sway and Tech in New York, man. You was the first, to do it on radio. You might have been the only to do it, at that time. I want to ask you about mixtapes, but first I want to bring your daughter in, who's been on our show a few times, and I think she's amazing. She's like a niece to me, and it probably scares her sometime when I go on her IG Live and she getting wild in the conversation. I'll just show up, kid, just for a few minutes, just to let her know I'm watching. I remember you talking about Vina Love and saying early on you wasn't sure if you wanted to put her in the industry. You wasn't sure if she was ready. And then now you guys are doing music together. When did you know your daughter was ready? What was it?
As far as, when you're in the music industry, you know how it is. You know what I'm saying? But she showed me how she was growing up. You know what I'm saying? She always been kind of like me, independent, stay on top of things. You know what I'm saying? Don't make herself look crazy, try to, treat people fairly, treat people right, and so she knew all that. Now, when she wanted to do music, I knew she was talented before I knew she wanted to sing, because when I did Radio City music called myself, LL, Sierra, and somebody else, I can't remember who was on the show. When I came out the second time on the show to come back on stage, I brought her on stage with me, and she did a dance routine out of nowhere. I didn't know she was going to do it. And Radio City lost their mind. They went crazy. After when Sierra was on stage, I took Davina, put her on my shoulders and walk around the crowd. They were, grabbing at her and asking for autographs and pictures and all that. So she was a little star before she knew she was going to be one. So when she started to sing, I didn't think she was ready yet. Not that I didn't think that she was going to be good. I didn't think she was good yet. And then one day she brought me a record that she did with her little boyfriend at the time called Best of Me. It was the Maya and Jay-Z record. They redid that. And I was like, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is serious. And then when she brought Air, that's when I knew she was ready. Air was written for Rihanna. Air was written for Rihanna. It never got to Rihanna, so Davina ended up doing the record herself, and that was the one that put it in. So yeah, she shows a lot. She's very hard worker, treat people right, do what she got to do. You know what I'm saying? Very serious and critique everything about her. If there's a video we have, she want to make sure that all her angles is right. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's very much on it. So yeah, she's just like her dad. Work hard.